Hello Frieth community, my name's Jess Farmer and this is a gift for the community, all based upon helping reverse some of the things that happen with desktop posture. So this is a gift off the back of the seminar last week, Improve Your Health and Beat Back Pain. There's also a 14-page document with a full summary of what we went through during the seminar, which I will post in the group as well as send out to anyone who requests it. It's all based around what you can do to improve your health. So I'm going to take you through a few stretches and exercises to reverse the desktop posture. So desktop posture, what usually happens is the head starts going forward, shoulders start going forward, lower back tends to flatten as we type. So this can and does often either lead or contribute to lower back pain, upper back pain, neck strain. So I'm going to give you some stretches and exercises which help to open up the body and reverse some of these things that happen through sitting at the desk quite a lot, which is most of us, myself included. So first off, just a word, you participate in the exercises at your own risk. Now, none of these exercises are should cause masses of pain or any pain, but if they do for whatever reason, stop and seek the advice of a trained professional such as myself or a physiotherapist or osteopath. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to start with the exercises. So the first one is called the Mckenzie Press Up. Now this is kind of like Cobra stretch in yoga, but done in a specific way using the breathing in a very specific way. So you come flat on the ground and your hands are underneath your shoulder blades, and what you do is you press yourself up while breathing out at the same time, which is very important. We breathe in, going down, breathe out, going back up. So you're like blowing yourself up, breathing in on the way down, out on the way up. Now this breath out is very important because it's this breath out that relaxes the spine, which we want because when the spine is relaxed, it helps it become mobile. It helps you to pump the discs within the spine, helps with a lot of different things. So this exercise can be potentially great for people with disc bulges. So what's happening is the discs are coming back into a good position, as well as you're freeing up and stretching the lower back. So this guy tends to get tight a lot when we sit at the desk. So it's very important as you go through this, keep your bum relaxed, try and switch your bum muscles off, and then it all goes into the lower back. Now, if you're very, very tight in the hips or the lower back, what may happen is the hips start coming up off the floor like that. So you don't want to let that happen. You only want to go as high as where the hips start coming off. For some people, it might be there. For other people who are more flexible, it might be here. Okay, so all you need with this is 10 repetitions and nice and slow. So we breathe out very slowly, breathe in very slowly, looking to tie the breath and the movement together. So next one is a trapezius stretch. So it's all of these muscles that go kind of from the top of the neck all the way down to the shoulder. So these get really, really tight when the head goes forward. So this stretch can help release them. So what you want to do is hold on to your head and maybe grip the edge of a chair. And what you do is you breathe in, and as you breathe out, you pull the head over, and you're going to feel a lovely deep stretch all down the neck. So you can let the breath do its work. As you breathe out, the body has this relaxation effect, which really, really helps. Going with the breath, only doing what your body allows you to do at a certain moment in time. Now, these are really quite tight on quite a lot of people. So you go for the other side. Now, you may find that one side is tighter than the other. So if you do find this, that's totally cool. You spend more time on the side that is tight. So we're looking for balance. Again, using the breath. So you want to go for around 8 to 12 breaths either side, and what you're doing is you are making sure that you're stretching for at least a minute. So really getting in there with a good stretch, at least a minute, because it takes at least a minute to actually start creating a change within the muscle. So stretching for at least 60 seconds or 8 to 12 slow breaths. Okay, the next stretch is, use one of my best friends here, the Swiss ball. Fantastic tool for lots of different things, conditioning wise, especially for back pain. When you do an exercise on the Swiss ball, because it's unstable, it gets to stabilize the muscles that hold the back together firing. So this is a chest stretch, so it stretches out all of the muscles here, and these are the muscles that pull the shoulders forward. So what I'm doing is I'm holding my arm on the edge of the ball. You can also use a bed if a ball isn't available to you. Ball is great because you've kind of got this curvature that you can play with, as well as it's got a bit of give in it, but a bed is also works okay. So what you want is, you don't want to be so close to the thing that you're hugging it, and you don't want to be so far away so that you're unsupported. So somewhere in between. And then again I use the breath. So I'm coming to the point of tension, then I breathe in, breathe out, sink down. Breathe in, breathe out, sink down with the breath. It's all about moving with the breath for a really effective stretch. Now this is quite a nice stretch. You'll feel it all across the chest here, especially if it's tight due to sitting for a long period of time. You can also put the arm straight, and you can even put the arm back here as well to just get the muscle in a slightly different place each time. Okay, so the next stretch is to open up all of the front of the body. So again, we're using the Swiss ball. So now this might be a bit challenging for the balance of some people. That's fine. Only go as far as you feel comfortable. So what we're doing is we're rolling down the Swiss ball. So the Swiss ball wants to be roughly in the middle of the lower back. Stretch your arms back and lay and extend over the Swiss ball. And what this does is it opens up and stretches all of the abdominal wall, it stretches the lower back, it's great. So you can stay in this for around a minute to 90 seconds. Breathing, as when you breathe, this helps to release and relax the body. Now, one point on this is that if you feel dizzy at any point putting your head back over the Swiss ball, then discontinue the stretch. So the next stretch is for the hip flexors. So the hip flexors kind of go from the lower back through the hip, through the body. So from here through to here, and they flex the hip. So because when we sit, we're always in this flexed position. So when we sit in this flexed position for long periods of time, the muscles get tight in that position. What this tends to do is it then kind of pulls through the body, and we sometimes kind of get this forward position. Sometimes the hips go forward as well, which this can cause a lot of pressure on the lower back. So now the stretch is one leg up, one leg down. So we're stretching this hip flexor, and what you're looking to do is squeeze the bum here and gently push the hips through while you send your hand up towards the sky. Now from here, you may, if you're tight, you're going to feel a deep stretch here. So your job is to make the stretch deeper by tweaking around. So you can do this in various different ways. So you can imagine that the ceiling is coming down on you, and you can reach up to the ceiling. You can tweak over to one direction, this is going to deepen the stretch, and you can push the hip further forward. Last tip for that one is that you can actually take a deep breath as well while you're in the stretch, and this will actually, the diaphragm will come down, which will actually help to stretch the hip flexors as well, because they're all interconnected with each other. Okay, so those are 4 key stretches that you can use to get the body more flexible. Now on them, if you find that any of those stretches you're not tight in, then you don't need to stretch. So commonly a lot of people stretch when they don't need to. We only should stretch tight muscles. Now generally, the vast majority of the time when I see people who sit at a desk quite a lot, most of these muscles are tight. Hip flexors, sometimes maybe not. So yeah, it's good to stretch. The next exercise is a strengthening exercise for the back and arms. So we've stretched the chest and neck, which brings the shoulders back. Now we need to strengthen the back muscles to fix them in place so that we can keep good posture all day long. So the exercise is called prone cobra. What we're doing is we're coming into this position, hands flat on the floor, and then you're raising up like kind of like Superman or Superwoman, and you're holding this position for 3 minutes. So the arms are kind of rotated out, and I'm pulling the shoulder blades together while keeping my head up off of the floor. I'm actually looking at the floor directly, I'm not looking forward. So looking at the floor, trying to keep the bum relaxed as well. So now you're holding this position for a total of 3 minutes. So 3 minutes is the minimum amount of time to effect a postural change within the muscle. So it's important to hold this one for a total of 3 minutes. Now, if you can't do 3 minutes to start with, which is quite tough to do the full 3 minutes to start with, then you can break it down into smaller slots. So either do a minute and a half, rest for 30 seconds, back in, or you can break it down into minute blocks each time with a short rest in between. So that will start opening up the chest and pulling things back there. Next off is that when we sit a lot, the glutes, which is the bum muscles, and the hamstrings, these tend to fall asleep and end up getting weakened. And what happens a lot of the time in this scenario is the pelvis then tips forward because the bum and the hamstrings aren't counterbalancing and keeping the hips back. So we get this, which causes compression in the lower back. So this exercise is called Supine Hip Extension. You can either do this on the Swiss ball. Swiss ball's great if you've got one. Don't need it. Otherwise, I'll show you the different exercise. But what we're doing is rolling down the Swiss ball. It's important that the shins stay perpendicular to the floor, so the shins don't move forward like this or back. So what we're doing is we are going up for 1, 2, 3. Squeeze your bum. 2, 3. Down. 2, 1. Now, head position, you want to be resting nicely on the ball. So 1, 2, 3. Squeeze your bum. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. It looks straightforward, but my God, this can get your bum burning like no one's business. So great exercise. We'll do 10 to 15 repetitions, working up to 3 sets. Now, if you did want to make this more challenging, then what you can do is you can put a resistance band across your knees. So you can get like packs of resistance bands, £8, you can get 5 different kinds of different thickness. The thicker it is, the more tension it puts. So that can actually make the exercise really, really hard, which is what we like. So if we stress the muscles, this causes them then to grow back stronger. Because through desktop sitting, these muscles tend to get weak and fall asleep, and can and often do lead to back pain because the whole back isn't supported by the glutes and the hamstrings. So glutes are like, should be the biggest muscle in the body. So when they are deconditioned, the lower back is losing so much support. So this could be a great exercise to get them nice and conditioned. Okay, so next off I've got 2 core exercises for you guys. Fantastic exercises. They basically, the core creates the bridge from the lower body to the upper body. Now if the core is weak, this sort of thing starts to happen because we kind of lose the bridge from the upper body to the lower body. So the core is extremely important for our posture. It's also extremely important for anyone who plays sports because it helps the transference of force from the lower body to the upper body so that the body can express the tennis serve or the punch or the throw. So the power comes from the floor and goes up through the core. Now, in terms of back pain, the core is a key supporter of all of the vertebrae. And also, most of the time with back pain, the person does have some sort of core deficiency. So often a really important part of getting out of back pain is doing the right kinds of core exercises in the right way to condition the core really nicely and to give that back all of the support that it needs. So, okay, The first core exercise is called 4-point tummy vacuum. So we're in the 4-point position. Now the spine is quite important, the angle at which it should be at. So this is about right, but some people will fall into this, which is flatter. Some people will go too much. I can't actually do it, but some people are really, really dipped. You want somewhere in between, so you've got like this nice curvature in the lower back. Now to get a good 4-point position, I tell people to imagine you're going down a country lane, and this is the front of your car, and you're looking to turn your headlights up, and you do this. Okay? So if you turn your headlights up, you're going to get the optimal curvature in the lower back. Now from here, like, if you can, you want to bend the arms so that the back is nice and flat to the floor. Not totally essential, but nice if you can get it. But that can be quite fatiguing for the arms. From here, now this could be quite complex because we're going with a breathing technique, but I will do a repetition. So look at my hand as I go through the exercise. Your hand will be both on the floor. So I breathe out. I suck my belly button in, so I'm pulling up my belly button as close to my spine as I can, waiting for 10 seconds with no breath. Then I breathe in to the abdomen and catch my breath. So we're performing the exercise with no air in the lungs. This is the key part. So you breathe out, don't breathe back in again. Pull your belly button up towards your spine. Hold for 10 seconds, no breath. After 10 seconds have gone, you breathe in, catch your breath, relax the core, then you go in for the next breath. So breathe out, I pull in, count to 10, then I breathe back in. So I hope that's clear. So once again, the exercise is performed with no air in the lungs. Because interestingly, with no air in the lungs, the muscle pulls up and then it starts using the organs as weight. So we have to have this with no breath so that there's space for the core to come in. This exercise is great. It finds all the imbalances in the core, whether it's here in the center, lower abdominals, or around the back. So core is deconditioned in most people due to a variety of different reasons. Could be stomach operation, could be deconditioned from sitting at the desk, could be a digestive issue, so if you're getting bloating, gas, constipation, the core tends to switch off. Women around the time of the monthly cycle, the core can often shut down, as well as various other things that can cause core dysfunction. So generally speaking, people with back pain, there is some sort of core dysfunction because the back pain itself is actively switching muscles off, if you will. So you can use this exercise as well as the one I'm about to show you to switch those muscles back on. Next exercise is called Horsestance Vertical. It's going to be a bit tricky to see, so I'm going to kind of exaggerate it. But we're back in the 4-point position again. And what we're doing is we're taking one hand and the opposite foot and lifting that up off the floor. So you can see I've got my knee flying off the floor and my opposite hand also flying up off the floor. Now, you don't want it as high as I've got it at the moment. You actually want this as close to the floor as you can, just hovering above the floor as if you could get a piece of paper under it. You hold that for 10 seconds while sucking the belly button in, then you swap to the other side. So now I've got these left hand, right foot up. Be sure to hold this position of the lower back because what can happen is this. Okay, now then you swap to the other side, belly button in, and now I've got these arms up, hand and leg. Not arms, it doesn't look like an arm. So then again you're hovering just like a little bit off the floor with this exercise. This is fantastic for lower back stability because it gets really into those deep muscles of the lower back. Also works the hips, also works the shoulders. So we're getting a full body exercise here. Now, this can be so helpful for back pain because what happens is the deep spinal stabilizers, particularly a muscle called the multifidus, tends to switch off when we have pain. Now, these stabilize the spine and keep things in the right place. And if the spine is stable, then it's able to perform its tasks pain-free. Whereas the other side of the coin is if the spine isn't stable, the body will give us pain as a friend to tell us to stop moving, because a lot of the time the pain is there to stop us doing more damage to the spine. So this exercise surrounds all of the muscles of the spine, really helps to start strengthening them and conditioning them. Very powerful, doesn't look like much, but my God, I've seen this exercise, just this exercise alone and a couple of stretches work wonders over a period of time. So, you know, you don't need to be busting a nut and doing, you know, an hour's worth of exercise per day to have a really, really positive impact on your lower back pain. You know, sometimes it's just a few key stretches and a couple of key exercises, and if they're the right ones, then you can work wonders with your pain. So those are the stretches and exercises. Last thing I'm going to show you guys is breathing technique. Now, most people breathe into the chest, so we breathe thousands of times a day, sometimes 25,000 times. So if we breathe into the chest, that's 25,000 times. We're picking the shoulders up and down, up and down. Now over time, this leads to tension in the neck, head goes forward, shoulders come forward. Whereas if we can breathe into the belly, then we get thousands of times where the core muscle is now working. So just by flipping your breathing technique from shoulders to core, now the core's active. It's able to support the lower back a lot better, because the breathing muscle is also the core muscles, which help to support the spine, keep the spine happy. But also breathing diaphragmatically into the belly also gives us a low-lying rest and digest response. So it relaxes the nervous system, whereas breathing into the chest creates a low-level stress response, fight or flight. So it's the two forces, rest and digest, fight or flight. This is how the body operates in order to process all sorts of different things. So, for example, when the body's in fight or flight, heart speeds up. When the body's in rest and digest, heart slows down. When the body is in fight or flight, it sends blood to the arms and legs to prepare us to run away or fight the tiger. Whereas when we're in rest and digest, the body sends the blood to the organs, which helps them to heal, transfer nutrients to them, and get nutrients all throughout the body. So it's very, very beneficial to have your body in a relaxed response as much as possible. And one of the best ways to control the nervous system is through the breath. So I'm going to show you how to get down into the belly, because it can be challenging for some people, especially when you may have breathed into the chest for most of your life. So the best way that I've found to do this is to grab a bottle of water, and what you're doing is lie down, legs flat. You put the bottle of water on your belly, and I want you to totally forget about breathing. Don't think about breathing at all. And all we want to do is use our belly to push the bottle up. And then let go. So I push the bottle up, I let go. I push the bottle up, I let go. And what you should find is that as you push the bottle up, this sucks air in. As you let the bottle down, this blows air out. Air in, air out. Air in, air out. Now what some people will have is that when the belly goes in, they'll actually breathe in. When the belly goes out, they'll breathe out. So this is what we call the inverted breathing pattern. So this is the easiest way to get out of it. Now, if you're thinking about breathing, you're probably going to breathe in the old pattern. So don't think about breathing, just think about pushing the bottle up and down, and just be conscious and aware of where the breath is and what's happening with it. So if you find that you're able to do that quite easily, great. What you do next is you come into a sitting position and try and do it sitting. So one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. And I breathe in, belly expands. I breathe out, belly comes in. Breathe in, belly out. Breathe out, belly comes in. So some people, it's easy to remind this as we inflate like the bellows. We open the bellows up, which inflates them, and then as we close the bellows, it blows the air out. You can also, if you press your belly button, because it is a button, right? If you press that button, we should breathe out as the button is pressed. Now, if you're able to breathe down into the belly here, this is great. The next thing to do is to take it to standing, because some people can do it easily sitting, but struggle to do it standing. And then what you can do from there is, if you've got the breathing technique, if you feel like it's you've got the belly breathing down, then there's a couple of different techniques that you can use. I'm going to show you one, and this helps to put the nervous system into a really relaxed state quite quickly. Now, a lot of back pain is related to tension in the system, which often comes from stress most of the time, mental, emotional stress, as well as stresses internally, such as not having the best nutrition, or not getting enough water, or enough sleep. It all creates tension in the body. So tension in the body pulls on discs and vertebrae, which can then often lead to pain. So you can use the breath to relax the system. Now, a way in which you can do that is you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold your breath for 6 seconds, breathe out for 8 seconds. Okay, so that's in for 4 seconds, hold for 6, breathe out for 8. If you can't get those straight away, that's totally fine. Just do what you can. So some people, it can be uncomfortable to hold the breath. So if that's you, then no pressure. You can just relax with it and do what you can. So I'll take you guys through a few breaths. So we breathe in for 4, hold for 6, breathe out for 8. You can close your eyes while you do this as well. So you breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4, hold for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Breathe in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So if you do 10 more of these breaths, then you will notice that your body comes into a more relaxed state. Now, when we're experiencing pain, if we're able to shift our body into a more relaxed state, this dampens the pain receptors, so we can actually, through the breath, start to control the pain. So that concludes the Frieth community gift of the, call this the desktop remedies. So hope that's been really useful for you guys, and feel free to send over any questions as well. And yeah, I will be getting the 14-page workbook from the presentation out to you guys as well. So hope you enjoyed this, and have yourselves a lovely day.